Hi everyone, it's me Darlene. I am here in my vlog spot at my computer and I'm jumping in with this video which is really for patrons, but I have to make it public because many of my patrons are blocked out of my account, not my doing, and I'm going to explain that. So I can't reach them inside Patreon. I have to make a public video, so hopefully they'll watch this and they'll understand a little bit more as to what is going on. Long story short, Patreon made some changes. They have changed. They switched to a company in the UK to process the pledges instead of a company in the United States. I see how that might benefit patrons and content creators in the UK, but I'm in the United States and most of my patrons are too, so it would have been nice if payments could be processed still in the United States for those in the United States. But they moved it all to the UK. And what is happening is, and I didn't know anything about this, I learned this little by feedback from patrons who were able to contact me via email or messages, or those who went along with this change and still had access to my account. But I know there are many out there without access to the account and they're just clueless, or they think for some reason that I blocked them and I didn't. So what is happening is the payments are processed now in the UK, and that is causing a fee. There's different kinds of fees, and I'm not going to get into that because I don't really understand it all. But there are different kinds of fees for international things like that. So what's happening is when that company in the UK is trying to get the pledges out of American banks, the bank sees it as odd, unusual, and possibly a scam. So they are denying it and blocking them from charging the bank. And that means now that person hasn't made their pledge, the patron hasn't made their pledge, it hasn't gone through, and then they're denied access to Patreon. And they don't know why. And they're probably not even aware of any of this because I wasn't. And I'm a content creator. If anyone should know, the content creators should. But Patreon isn't very open about such things. I will talk a little bit more about that because I did get a reply from Patreon. So I'm going to explain a little bit more of what they said to me. But this is so disheartening because I was so excited to have my first year of Patreon, my first year anniversary, and I was looking so forward to an awesome second year. I wanted to do a video explaining the things that I liked and the things that I don't so much like, and one of them is that it's very hard to contact Patreon or to get a reply, and even when I get replies, they beat around the bush with their answers. I don't like that, but I'm not here to hate on Patreon. That's not the point. And I'm not going to let people hate on Patreon in the comments because I don't like that kind of negativity when I'm dealing with a business thing. So, I'm just making this public because I'm hoping to reach patrons who are absolutely dumbfounded as to what is going on. I have heard from several, and it's like, did you block me? I was part of the Fabric Frenzy, and then all of a sudden I can't get into the account. Oh, and that's another thing. I always say that I count on the pledges, and you need to make good on your pledge in order to get the fabric. Well, as if I'm going to go by that. Everybody has the fabric coming to them. It's all sent out. I didn't go in and look and see if you were declined or not, because I know it's not your fault. So that's why I'm making this public. I'm hoping that it can clear things up for some people. So what it is a lot of people are getting declined. They can't get into my account. Other people are getting charged some international fees, and they're really upset about that. And so because they're upset, they're leaving my Patreon. Now I actually have almost 500 patrons inside my account. Last night is the last time I looked at that exact number, and I believe it was 497 last night. And on my homepage, you'll see that I'm down to like 403 or something like that, because I have almost 100 patrons who have been declined. Their pledges are not going through. That hurts me as a content creator. Now, Patreon is saying this change is going to be good in the long run for content creators, but how can it be good if I lose that many? Now, I haven't lost those patrons, but their payments haven't gone through, and that's probably how many cannot access my account. their account. They can't get in to see what they're paying for, or supposedly paying for. They don't know that they haven't paid for it. It's a hot fucking mess. That's all I can say. So I reached out to Patreon because I was quite concerned about, this is before I knew any of this. I was concerned, why do I have so many declined cards? It's not possible that 100 people don't have $3 on their card, or even $1 on their card. And this is what I got back. And I'm only going to read in parts because it's quite a lengthy kind of bullshit, kind of beat around the bush kind of email, because they don't want to come out and say, yeah, we did something new and it's falling apart, and we've dropped the ball on letting people know. Because I really feel they should be sending emails out to everyone, not just content creators, but to the patrons too, explaining if you've seen some weird charges, it's because we changed our processing center to the UK, and we're sorry, but I don't even know, is this a fee that's supposed to happen every time? Patrons aren't going to like that. I don't want that for patrons. Or is it a one-time fee to unlock that bank? You know, I just don't know. I'm still so in the dark. So this is what Patreon said. Your patrons may be seeing their payments processed with our UK payment processors. They may be seeing, I didn't really catch that. Does that mean not all are being processed with that? I would think if they left the USA for processing and went to UK, that everything's being processed there. Their banks may charge an additional foreign transaction fee. However, this is dictated by individual banks and not Patreon. Yeah, I get that. That's why it's important to let people know this. As we work to process payments for all creators, we've begun to partner with global payment processors. I think what they're trying to say is, you know, there's people inside Patreon from all over the world, and they're trying to find a processor who is better to process all payments. I still think it would make sense for them to have each individual country do their own processing. I mean, that can't be that difficult, you know? And it would not ruffle so many feathers or hurt creators or piss off patrons, you know? External forces have led us to partner with global payment partners to help build a stronger payments foundation. This includes processing payments for creators in the UK. So they're taking the processing to the UK because they're magically better, I guess. Our work to ensure that payments process smoothly for all creators regardless of content and location is ongoing. Our VP of Operations has shared more information regarding this here. And she links me to some post that's not even like on the regular Patreon blog. I never got notice that there was a post anywhere. I don't know how anyone would have ever found this post, but I will link to it down below if you're interested in reading it. And I'm going to finish this, and then I might look at that and comment on that too. While I don't have an immediate fix for the frustration you and your patrons may be experiencing right now, please know that our team has worked tirelessly to try and migrate these changes for creators. With that said, I understand that this has not been an ideal experience. So why aren't they sending an email to everyone letting them know that? So my patrons don't think that I have just blocked them for no good reason. And for those getting a fee to not think that this is some kind of a scam, that somebody is, you know, hacking their account, or that Patreon is suddenly doing something evil. It would have been nice to let everybody know. The best advice you can give your patrons, here's the part that really bothers me. First of all, it's not my job to tell patrons what they need to do. It's Patreon's job to do that. The best advice you can give patrons that continue to run into declined errors for these transactions is to contact their banks, Not, they're saying I'm supposed to tell patrons to contact their banks and ask that they allow future payments from Patreon membership from a UK processor. It's not my job to instruct patrons what they need to tell their banks. This is beyond ridiculous. And there's no mention as to are they going to be continued to pay fees. Furthermore, am I supposed to go into my account and personally email 100 patrons and tell them that? I don't even know if Patreon has a system where I could send a bulk email. Again, it's not part of my job to do that. And as if a patron wants to hear instructions from me about what they're supposed to do with their bank. They would need to hear that directly from Patreon. This part is so dropping the ball, it's not even funny. And then, get this, one of my patrons so far that I know of got charged a $99 fee. $99. Now, obviously there's a mistake there somewhere because it's supposed to be no more than 3%. That's what it is saying here. While some patrons may see a foreign transaction fee, these are an additional 3% of the charge or less, which means that the most a $3 patron should be charged for a fee is 9 cents. But I've also had another one tell me that she was charged a $7 fee. So again, I'm supposed to go and tell patrons, go talk to your banks. Ask them if they can accept payments from this. If not, you're going to have to find an alternate way to pay me. I'm not doing that. That's fucking bullshit. And I don't blame patrons for wanting to leave. I don't. So I don't know anything more than this. Like, is it going to always be this way continuously? It makes me not want to encourage patrons to join. I don't want somebody to join something that I don't even fully understand. You know, because they're going to question me, and I don't have the answers. Then she goes on to say about the $99 fee. A fee that is several times higher than the actual charge itself is very unlikely. She's not even concerned that $99 is way more than 9 cents. She does tell me to have that patron reach out to them directly, so she's not putting it in my hands. At least that's not my job, to go take care of that patron. Or she's not telling me to call the bank for her. I hope this helps, and let me know if you have any other questions. Well, I immediately had more questions, and I haven't gotten a reply about that at all. Like, one of my questions was, what about my 100 declined patrons? Any chance that that can get worked? Oh, no, that's right. That won't get worked out because I have to let my patrons know that they have to jump through fucking hoops and talk to their bank and have their bank clear these payments and hope that it's really just a 3% fee that still no one was told about. I don't care if it's 9 cents. Everybody needs to know. Why an additional 9 cents? I would want to know that. So I'm going to click through to that link and see, because I was so upset when I read all of this yesterday that I couldn't even really comprehend what I was reading. And this is on some blog, art/work dash behind the scenes at Patreon. And it's not the official Patreon blog. I don't know who would find this. I have no clue. A note on payments. Hi, creators. When it comes to payments, some of you have experienced some turbulence, and I want to share with you what's been happening and why. She goes on to talk about their mission is to ensure creators can scale their memberships on Patreon. We excitedly serve creators and patrons in over 100 countries, so it's critical that we invest deeper in our payments infrastructure and make smart decisions about the partners we choose. So they're letting us know this was a good move that they're going to the UK. I still say that the United States alone should justify a payment processing center in the United States. And if they have a lot of creators in the UK, do that for them. If they have a lot of creators in India, do that for them. I mean, I don't know. In payment processing specifically, we have the following goals. Reliability. Get creators their money on time every time. Does that mean they haven't been doing that? I don't know. Support creators across the globe. I'm all for that. And have their processing centers be in their countries. Reduce payment transaction fees. I don't know if they mean like for the creators, because I have fees taken out. I wasn't complaining about the fees. I knew that going in. I don't want patrons to have a fee. That's what I don't want. Even if it meant I had to pay the 9 cents, as long as it's, actually 3% or less, like they said. I wouldn't even care if it was a $100 patron who was pledging $100 a month to me. I don't have that, but I would pay the $3 fee for them. It just shouldn't come out of their pocket. It's nuts, especially with them not knowing this. Payment partners price their products differently, and we work with multiple payment partners. Multiple payment partners? Are they saying they're still working with multiple places that process the pledges, yet they decided to move that out of the United States? Something's up. Something's weird about that. It has to be benefiting Patreon in some way to get out of the US and into the UK. That's all I can say. And this is a United States-based company, so I don't know. And I'll let you read this. I'm going to have the link for you down below. This whole other paragraph, I don't even want to look at it. It's just so wordy and ridiculous. The reality is, they have this highlighted in light blue. The reality is that the inconsistencies you've seen are the result of us working for you, never against you, to make the necessary changes that ensure your art can continue being funded on Patreon. Wow. Are they worried that Patreon is falling apart? Can continue being funded on Patreon? They had to make this change so we could continue to be funded? Content creators? That's scary. I understand that sometimes tough things have to be done for the good in the long run. What I don't understand is not telling everyone about it. I will never understand that. I won't. Here are the recent changes you may have noticed. Now, I'm just going to go quickly. Hang on a second. Okay, out of number 1 big paragraph, it is saying one of the things they have done is that they've added new payment partners so that we can continue processing payments for as many Patreon creators as possible. So again, added payment partners. Why isn't there still a payment partner in the United States? Unless there is, and some United States people are accidentally being sent to the UK, but they're not saying that. They're not saying some are accidentally being sent to the UK and we're going to let all those patrons know, because they should be letting patrons know. It's not my job to do that. I'm not equipped to know what to say. And even if I was equipped to know what to say, it's still not my job. My job is to provide content for patrons and not have to tell them the behind-the-scenes stuff that's going on Patreon. One of these partners is a UK-based payment processor. This change helped us save thousands of creators' incomes. That didn't happen to me. My income tanked because I have so many patrons who aren't able to pay me because their payments, their pledges are being declined. The main downside, however, is that it created higher declines in some cases. It has to be more than some cases, and I can't be the only one. I'm a little tiny drop inside Patreon. There are people, I've talked about it before, there's this one, I can't remember, it's a podcast, 100,000 a month in pledges. You can't tell me that they're not bullshit about this going on. Think of all the patrons that must be complaining that their cards are being declined. Most of those declines have been resolved. None of mine have. None. This is the 5th, and I haven't had any, I think maybe 3, maybe 4. The last time I checked was 3, and so I'm saying maybe 4 declines were reversed and went through. We're still working around the clock to get the remaining declined cards in good standing. How can they do that? How can they do it? They didn't instruct me to go and help and tell everyone. I thought that was my job. They're doing it without me? They're trying? Oh my goodness. Then it says they audited Patreon pages to make sure they fall in the guidelines, and they did something about mature content to making sure that that's not getting out there. Oh, to be honest, I didn't read this. They're going to be honest about something. Let's go. It's been difficult to communicate these changes. No fucking shit. Oh my God. I knew that. You know why? I didn't get any communication about these changes. Out of respect for our partners and our agreements with them, there are details that we cannot disclose even today, which makes it challenging to discuss specifics. Isn't that lovely? What I want you to know is that our top company metric is your income, meaning my income. They're focused on my income. We show up to work because we want to fund the creative class and get you paid in bold. So any changes Patreon makes to our payments are made so that we can send as much money as possible to artists and creators around the world. I do even get that they would like to minimize the amount of fees that come out of the payments, because I do get charged fees. I don't see any of it. I don't see any of the behind the scenes. I only see what my actual pledge number is inside my account, and I'm currently over $1,500 is what my monthly pledges are. I got paid just a little over $1,000. That's $500, almost $500 of fees that I paid that I don't know where it went to. That's a lot of money. It's supposed to be generally around, did they say, I think it was 20%, was my calculator. I should have collected $1,162, and that's about right, because that is when I was, that's about what I was hoping on. Close to $1,200 is what I was aiming for, and that's what it was showing, and then all of a sudden it dropped to just over $1,000, and that's what you see on the homepage, on my Patreon homepage. Now, I know I had, at the end of the month, a little over 500 patrons, but when I opened up my Patreon page on the 1st, I almost died. At one point, I saw 396. I had lost over 100 patrons, I thought, but I didn't really lose them. That's just how many cards weren't being processed. So you can see it's a little hard for me right now to do a pep talk about Patreon. I'm not jumping ship with them. I want to see it through and see how it's going to go, but I really wish I could hear from other content creators to see, you know, other people pissed off about this. I don't really see anybody complaining as of yet, and I think that's nuts, because people should be upset. I don't care about the loss of income on my end, because I'm good with whatever, and I actually, I understand there's fees. If I think Patreon is getting too big of a cut, I have the choice to leave Patreon. And my problem is that they're not being open about this, and they're not contacting everyone and letting them know what's going on. They're dropping the ball big time on that. And I don't care how much they think it's for the better good in the long run. If you piss off a whole shitload of patrons and make them think that something is really going wrong, they're not coming back. That's all there is to it. I wouldn't. So with all this said, I am seriously, you know, and I've known, I didn't even need this. I am looking into the whole YouTube membership thing. I have to start moving my eggs to another basket, because I have been doing online business since the year 2000, and I have seen big companies like affiliate companies just fall out of the of the picture. It'd be like, oh my God, all of a sudden one day I can't log into Logical Media is one, for example, that, you know, I was earning a lot of money with them, with the whole coupon gig, and then all of a sudden one day, poof, it's gone. It's gone. No more Logical Media. I've had companies close the doors with owing me money that I'm never to collect. So this shit happens. It happens. And, you know, I can only give examples of, you know, companies that I've done business with, which were mostly affiliate companies. And now I'm starting to learn about the whole fan funding thing, and I'm the first to say that YouTube too could one day just make so many changes, and you know, I expect that. I expect it, and I always have to look ahead for something else. And you know, everybody needs to. Everybody, any job you have to know the doors can close at any time. There are people, especially like in Maine, who have worked in plants or mills 20, 25 years, and then all of a sudden one day they go to work and they're told this is our last day. Nobody's going to be working here anymore after this. And those people are devastated. At first I say, be happy. You're going to do something different now. Because I can't imagine doing any one thing for 25 years. But these people didn't know how to do anything else. And, you know, it's like, it's sad, but that's the way it is, you know? And anyway, I hope some of my patrons who think that I blocked them know that I didn't. And also, don't be worried. Your fabric is going to you. I don't care if your pledge went through or not. So the fabric is on the way. And I'm not happy about all of this. I can't do anything but just hope for change again for the better. And but you know, I'm not an idiot. You know, I'm you know, I am watching. I'm watching what's going on, and you know, and I feel bad for any patron who got charged any fees. I mean, it's just I can't accept that. I don't care if it's 9 cents. I don't care if it's a legit 9 cents. You should have known about it before that got taken off your card. All right. Thank you guys so much. I do appreciate it that you hang out and listen to the stuff I have to talk about. And again, I know it might sound like, you know, it's okay to say all kinds of horrible things about Patreon. I just won't allow it in the comments because it just feeds more negativity and it can make me even more miserable than I already am. I don't need to be convinced. I know what I'm doing. I've you know, been around this for a long time. I know what to expect. I know how to understand these things, and I know that some businesses are actual, like, just out for the bad, and I can tell by certain signs. One sign that is usually a trigger is not fully disclosing things. And so I am keeping an eye out because, you know, I'm not happy about all of this. And I understand things going wrong, but I also understand that there's a very good way to explain it to everyone. A business should be concerned about the people involved. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, but still, no hate. Bye.